Mahalo for being with us, Jim, today in your busy schedule. You have a lot of responsibilities as the director of Punchbowl.
We do. Most of them are focused or centered on the interments that we do every day, Monday through Friday, typically 6 to 8 every day of our local veterans and their spouses. But we also have another 2 or 3 other faces that we see with the public, which is typically have the tour companies putting together tours that go from the Arizona up to Punchbowl. The unusual part here is that we don't allow them to offload in the cemetery because the cemetery operations take priority over everything. So it doesn't matter who's visiting. For instance, this morning we had the Indian Minister of Defense along with the Indo-PACOM commander here for a short ceremony. But that is a secondary priority for us. Our first priority is always to take care of those families and their veterans. And then the third piece of that is, again, not only the tourists, but the dignitaries. We had a congressional delegation through Monday morning of about 25 people. And those are important for us because so few members of Congress are members or were members of the military. Mm-hmm. Anytime we have an opportunity to do that educational piece, we do. Our public affairs specialist, Gene Maestas, and I developed a program about 6 years ago where with the local schools and with the local military veterans education programs, we bring them out to give them an opportunity to volunteer to maybe help clean up or improve the cemetery. But as part of that, we also educate them about the history of the crater, the history of the cemetery, and then talk to them all about their benefits as a military member, because many just don't understand that. So it's a very fluid environment that we work in here, and we're very proud of it, and we're very happy, and we're very special from the standpoint all of our employees are veterans with the exception of one. We just recently hired a non-veteran. He's fitting in very, very well. He understands the program. But it's easier to do all the many things that we do when you understand the people that you're taking care of.
Yes, absolutely. And this is a very living place. My Rotary Club comes and puts leis on the graves.
Yes.
What would you say to the public who might not be aware that Punchbowl is a living place?
Don't be part of that minority or part of that population of our state who have never been here. It surprises me all the time that the only reason that some people ever come here as lifelong residents of Hawaii is because somebody visits from out of state and they take the time to come visit with them. And they are amazed, and they should be, not only at the beauty of the very unique setting of being in the crater, but also just from the breath that it takes away as you look upon that 110 acres of sacrifice, not only those military members, but their spouses and their children. They're all part of the ohana at the cemetery. It is a family commitment. And so for us, we try to continue that with a lot of the programs that we have up here. We work with all of the veterans organizations, whether it's the Oahu Veterans Council or the individuals like the Military Order of Purple Hearts or VFW, and they will sponsor ceremonies, whether it be Memorial Day, Veterans Day, the Korean War, to honor the military members and their families for their service during those particular war periods or times.
As a veteran yourself, it must be very reassuring to know there's a place that also takes care of families once someone has passed.
The timing is impeccable that you asked that. Yesterday I stopped to talk to a gentleman near one of our construction sites, and he was expressing to me his appreciation of exactly what you just said. This is a benefit to our veterans and their families that is of zero cost to them. It is perpetual care for their loved one, and many people don't even know about it. As you and I were speaking earlier, literally out of all the eligible veterans, 10% take advantage of this benefit. And here in our state, we're very, very fortunate. Not only do we have the Punchbowl, the national cemetery that the VA oversees, but the state also has 8 state veterans cemeteries. So there's basically a military cemetery on every island that we should take advantage of and should utilize as a benefit.
So how do you communicate this to the schools? Because we're talking also about younger generations.
It is.
Not just valuing the veterans and what we have, but also planning their future.
So part of that is to not scare them off. This isn't about talking about war. This is about making them understand how they live their lives, what has enabled them to live their lives. So that education, it's not a history lesson, but it is. It makes it more personal. To be able to walk around the cemetery and be able to point to a gravesite and explain to a class from Punahou, from Kamehameha, about this individual and be able to relate what that individual did with their life, what the difference they made in their life by serving in the military. And it doesn't need to be somebody that was killed during action. So many, I mean, it's amazing. Every time we take visitors up into the cemetery, you know, whether it's Senator Inouye, whether it's Ernie Pyle, may have been killed in battle, but others like Senator Inouye who lived full lives. And that experience in combat, that experience with their brothers and sisters in arms, set them up to be able to live a life of public service, live a life that gives back. And that's part of what Gene, my public affairs, and I have tried to impress upon people. It's not all about you. It is about something bigger than you. And that's part of why our job is easy here, but it's also why we try to get out and educate a lot of the young folks.
Well, thank you very much for your work and for your commitment and for your aloha.
Thank you. Great.
We've just spoken with Jim Horton, Director of Punchbowl Cemetery.